got my iPro on. Here we go.
This is another Airsoft Mike production.
So a huge thank you to GOYOJO for sending me this free sample to play with and keep and to do a video on. Thank you. This is the GOYOJO GRS225RF thermal optics. You know, initially I was not sure if GOYOJO was aware that the average airsofter would never buy this because of the cost. But then I looked up the average price of a thermal optics scope and damn! Now I see why this is not that expensive in comparison. What if I was to tell you that the average price of a mid to near top end thermal scope is around £1,000 or dollars? Well, I'd be lying. How about $7,000 upwards, okay, for a thermal scope? So relatively speaking, this GOYOJO is fairly cheap. But again, is it something that an airsofter or an airsofter that does those big airsoft events or milsims, is this something they would want? Well, I'm no expert on these and I won't pretend to be. I'm just going to show you what it has, the features, but not too in depth, and you can make your own mind up. Now I know you get much cheaper than this, but they are, well, you get what you pay for. Whereas this GOYOJO is packed full of features you would expect to pay way more for. If at the end of this video I feel it's an overkill for what I do or for what most airsofters do during gameplay, I will say it. So when handling this, when I first took it out of the box, it felt solid. So it is made out of aluminium magnesium alloy. So starting at the rear, you have this nice rubber eye cup, and inside you have your what effectively is a computer screen. Moving a little further on, you have your focus ring, pretty decent one too. So if you wear glasses, put them to the side because you can look through this without wearing any glasses and focus that to your eyes' needs. And trust me, when I first looked through this, it was all blurred. So I put some glasses on and then I thought, hold on. I took the glasses off, made some adjustments there, and it's pin sharp. Nice. And then as we get to this very crucial part of this thermal scope, you have 3 rubberized buttons. The first button there, as you can see, internationally known power button, but that's not all it does. It also allows this unit to go to sleep. And then we move along to the button that excites me the most, the one that has an image of a camera. So not only can you take photos on this unit, you can also record video. And then we move to the button with the sun image on there. You can change the type of heat signature that you get when you're looking on the screen. So moving along, where you would normally find an elevation turret on a regular scope, you have a menu and OK button, which also turns. You would use the turning feature to select the vast amount of different features you will find in this unit. Now remember earlier when I showed you this little battery, it is a CR123, it's rechargeable, that is included in the box, nice. But it's an optional battery because this unit has its own internal rechargeable battery. GOYOJO claims you're going to get anything around 7 to 9 hours worth of play with this. I'm thinking of the type of airsofter that would use this straight away. Possibly someone into milsim, I don't know. But if you want that extra bit of runtime, you have this optional rechargeable battery that you simply pop in there, the positive end going in first. Then as we move along, we have your range finder. And it literally does what it says on the tin. It literally measures the distance of whatever you've placed your reticule on. I think that's pretty cool. As we get to the very front of this unit, you have your focus ring. Yeah, very firm but smooth. I like that. And then at the very front, you have quite a decent lens cover. I like this because often you will get some sort of flimsy, rubbery lens covers on some scopes, but this one is firm and it stays on the unit, so you can open it up, but it stays right there. So as we move along, you've got your branding there, GOYOJO, and the model number. So there are two versions of this that I have seen so far. So there's this one, which is the GRS225RF, RF for the range finder. There's models out there without the range finder, so it won't have RF at the end. And then moving along, we have this little rubber cover behind. There is your USB-C socket. That's for your charging and computer connectivity. Now, talking about connectivity, this scope has its own dedicated app, but it's important to note, you don't need to download or use the app. It's just if you want that bit more functionality, you can use an app, because you can also stream from this scope to the screen on your phone via the app. Not only that, there's something else on this which I think is awesome. It also has RAV, R-A-V, recoil activated video. So, and this is fantastic. I'm not sure if it'll work for airsoft. Yeah, probably for like gas blowbacks. I'm not too sure about AEGs, but I guess we'll find out. When you take a shot, this scope will automatically capture and record that shot. Now you're thinking, hold on, so when you pull the trigger, this will start recording. Surely it will miss what you've just done. Well, no, it uses the same technology that you will find in many body-worn cameras worn by, I don't know, police, security personnel, and so on. So effectively, what it's doing, when it's not in recording mode, it is actually doing a little buffering thing where it's recording every few seconds, then deleting it. Recording, then deleting it. Recording, then deleting it. Until you take a shot, it will properly start to record, but it will also keep the few seconds before you pull the trigger, which means that shot will be recorded onto video. Nice! And then it will stop. Pretty decent feature. I like that. Like I said, it's just like some of these higher end body-worn cameras. Right, let me show you the screen and all its functionality. Then I'm going to take it outside, but no, of course I'm not going to take this bad boy outside. I'll take it off. I'll mount this onto something less scary and show you the functionality. And then of course, I'll come back inside and test if the RAV function works. Right, let me keep it real with you. This thermal scope by GOYOJO has so many settings on here that if I went through every single one and the sub-menus and everything, this video will go on forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you quick snapshots of the different settings you have, and then I'll actually show you in real time about the reticle, the whole zeroing menu. That's awesome. And then we'll go outside quickly.
Oh, and by the way, I've just switched to the actual thermal scope's inbuilt microphone, yes, so it can record audio. Not so much for speech, because as you can hear, it's not the best. But especially when you're taking shots and you're doing all sorts of things, it's good that it also picks up audio when you're recording. Okay, so what I want to show you now is this zeroing. This is pretty cool. So if I select it, you see that? It says aim profile 1 at the top left hand side there. That means you can set this up with different profiles. And I believe it's up to 5. Hold on. Yep, 5 different profiles. Now, I'm sorry to be so basic, but just like on Call of Duty, when you change your different scopes as you upgrade your weapon, you can change what you see with the reticle. Now, hold on. If I select it, look at these different types that you can have. How cool is that? All in this one unit. Okay, so that's the last one, but the great thing is, let me choose, let me see, what am I currently using? Let me just stick with that, because that's going to show you what I want to show you next. So I'm going to select that one. You can change the color on this bad boy, look. Mate, I'm loving this thing. You got your lock feature there. And then look here, you can customize it even further with this selection right here. How cool is that? Let's bring it back up. Now, looking at these and my basic knowledge, this selection here, sorry, and my basic knowledge with actual scopes, I'm going to take a wild guess. This is your windage and elevation settings. And then, of course, you can reset everything, which is what I'm going to do right now. Nice. So now I'm just going to focus. So that's what it looks like when you focus it properly. Let's do a little zoom. See the picture there.
Oh, and by the way, just in case you're wondering, I had my drinks mug, my tactical mug that I drink my hot drinks and cold drinks from, because this bad boy has rails on it. But I drink from it too. Nice. So I reckon you might have worked out what I'm going to do right now. And that RAV function, will it activate the recording when I fire? Now, I'm going to kind of cheat. Now, when I say cheat, this is my rear arms shell ejecting AR. Okay, it's got a good old kick on it as well. Got my iPro on. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time and then I'm going to go and check the results. Okay, iPro on. So, it appears that even airsoft platforms that have a nice little kick doesn't really activate the RAV facility. However, here's another deal breaker for me. There's no point having this thermal scope, especially during the mil-sim or whatever situation you want to use it in during gameplay, if it doesn't pick up on a BB. And I'm not talking about a tracer BB. Of course, anything will pick up on a tracer BB. Standard BBs, can you still see them through this scope? Well, let's find out.
Excellent, you can see the BVs. Nice.
Awesome. So there you go, people. This is the GOYOJO GRS225RF thermal optics with LRF, which is your laser range finder. I tell you what, I'm not gonna lie, GOYOJO didn't give me a script. They didn't ask me to say nice things about this and to push. Nope. They literally got in contact with me out of the blue. They said, can we send you one of these? See what you think? And here it is. And I absolutely love it. Now let me keep it real with you. Would this be something that I would buy if I was in the market for something like this? Absolutely. Would I have bought this if I stumbled across this and I wasn't in the market for a thermal scope? Absolutely not. So I'm just keeping it real with you. I'm happy I've got this. I think it's fantastic now that I know what it's capable of, and believe me, what I have shown you already in this video doesn't even scratch the surface of the other features on this. Is it worth it for your average airsofter? I'm gonna say no. If you regularly do those big events and you're a milsimmer, if that's a word, milsimmer? Anyway, if you do milsim and you're in the market for a thermal scope, I would seriously take a look at this and consider one of these. Because again, it's a fraction of the price. I know it sounds weird me saying that considering it cost over $700. But it is a fraction of the price compared to other thermal scopes, and from what I've seen so far on this. Now keep it real, again, I have watched other videos, real steel, real firearm owners that have used and tested this, and from what I've gathered, they're pretty impressed. Not 100%, but for the most part, they're pretty impressed. And so am I. Thanks again to GOYOJO. Check the video description for more details and a cheeky link.